Uh, Thank you so much for inviting me as a chief guest for this national conference. I just way back, about 30 years back, I just look forward, right? I left Tamil Nadu in the year 1995, right? After 30 years, so this is my first, as a resource person in Tamil Nadu, because I moved across Karnataka. And delivered many sessions in Karnataka, but in Tamil Nadu, except there is only one time was in Chennai, but this is my pure the delivery in the conference. Thank you so much for the organizer. Special mention to your HOD, Professor Vasuki. Thank you so much, madam. In fact, last year, there was a call, but due to other commitment, I couldn't make it. And I sent one of my colleague and friend, Mr. Sunil, and I think that also went on well. So once again, I sincere my gratitude to the management, your principal, dean, and other faculty members. Right? Okay. Once again, I feel very honored to be here to stand to deliver, the inaugural session. I wanted to more interactive. It's not like only I have to speech, or maybe you can give your view. Okay, this is what I like, right? My first question: why do you come to college? Yeah, get the job, right? Okay, I'm very happy. Some boy, answered. I'm so happy you come to college to get the job. Right? Absolutely. I wanted to give a couple of examples. We run a course called Retail Analytics. Right? There is a course called Retail Analytics. We are the first college, Mount Carmel College. Right? We tied up with the Tata Consultancy in the year 2011. So the advantage of this particular course, right? The curriculum and the faculty from Tata Consultancy. So we have rich experience people, but still the TCS wanted to teach from from the industry point of view. Right? They send the faculty on a Friday and Saturday, right? And take the classes. So end of the program, they used to hire people. Right? There was the first time there was about 35 registration, out of which there are 21 people being hired by TCS. Right? And later, in the second year, similarly, there are about close to 20 plus people being hired. Third time, right, the course again we offered as a written analytics. Right? There is a set of people who registered, close to 35 members. Right? And later, the end of the session, there was a hiring process. Right? So the hiring process, I think all of you must be knowing how the hiring process. Right? The company, there is a set of people who came from industry, and they started to give the first one we call something called aptitude test. Right? So that particular set of students who've been hired for South American process. Right? Okay, so the process started, the people gave the entrance, right? The results declared, right? To observe in the company, the minimum requirement is about 75% in the aptitude. These girls, that is my BBA students, right? And they were closely, got close to 75, 74.3, 74, 72, something like this, right? So as your HR manager, what do you do now? The requirement is 75, where these people, the students, right? So they scored close to 74.3, right? There is one highest was 74.4, and majority of them, fall into 60 plus. As you are a HR manager, what do you do in this scenario? What do you do? The company spends close to more than 20 to 30 lakhs per annum this particular process. What do you do? The cutoff 75, where these people scored 74.4, 74.3, something like this. Majority of them are more than 60% aptitude. You know the importance of aptitude, right? So you please tell me, like, would you hire them, or you just say no, I can't hire? How many of you say yes, I will hire? No? I need your feedback. That's what, it's an interactive session. If I only speak, like, it is not interesting then. What do you do? See, the score is 74.4. What do you do now? See, the company said, like, they want to go back to the company, right? Out of 35 people who appeared, right, and none of them got selected. So that means the company is so specific, right? So today, please remember, my dear girls and boys, and the competition is like that. Not you, there are hundreds of people, right? The company did not select not even one person for the positions, right? The salary goes up to like 45,000 rupees. But none of them got selected. Why? Because they are so specific about the requirement of the process. That particular process is required 75, so the cutoff set by the companies is 75, right? So none of them got selected. So what will happen now? That's all, because maybe the company does not mind to waste the money, but no, they will fix whatever the requirement. If you don't have eligibility, right, they will not get selected. So this is what happening in the corporate today, right? So one of the Australian company, they received close to 65,000 applications for one position. Today the competition is like that. So how do you get selected? So what is your skill set? Think yourself, right? So this is what, like, we are going to discuss the entire journey for about 15-20 minutes, right? Do you have a skill to, like, get into the company? Think yourself. What is your aptitude? What is your caliber? Do you have a communication? Yeah. Do you have an aptitude test? Would you be able to, like, crack your entrance exams? Right? Do you analyze? Okay, so people simply say that, like, I didn't get a job. Okay, so the company did not select me. Why? Why they didn't get selected you? Because you have to think yourself whether you have this required skill. That you have to analyze. So today, like, the competitions are like that. Right? All you are with me? All of you with me? Yes? Okay. The last bench. I like the last bench always. Okay. All my questions goes there only. Still I'm not able to see you there. Right? Okay. I just wanted to share a few of my experience. I think most of the teachers are almost my age, right? And I said, Madam said, I have close to 26 years of my academic journey. Can I have your attention? So I have a students of 75 to 100 in a class, right? So when I teach, everyone wanted to see my eye. Okay? You're supposed not to distract anywhere. Is that clear? Is the agreement is clear? Right. Okay? So, somewhere in the 1985 plus, you all have a TV at home? You all have a TV at home? Yes. What is that? It's hanging on the wall? Or you kept it on the table? Hanging on the wall, right? Okay, so where we all had the first TV, black and white. We had a black and white, right? With the great pressure from my father, right? And with a great difficulty, with a lot of EMI, he's a government employee, my father, right? So with the great pressure, we bought a black and white TV somewhere in 87, 88, right? And in fact, my studies all were in Chennai, and along with my friends, okay, to watch on a Friday, madam, you remember? Olium, right? So only 30 minutes, right? Just about like 30 minutes, there is a 6 song, okay, gap of like, 1 minute. There is a 4 minutes, 4 minutes in every song. There used to be 6, song, right? People like, I don't know how they are coming like, in a gang like we used to watch. It's something like this, right? So to just watch about like, 30 minutes. Right? And on a Saturday, no option, we have to watch a Hindi movie. Right? On a Sunday, regional movie. Okay, in Tamil. Okay, for that, to watch that movie, we used to pay 25 paise. In Chennai, we used to pay 25 paise to watch. Right? And later, like, my friend's house also, they bought a, TV, but it was, the black and white TV, you have a shutter. right? Have you seen the shutter? It is a protected lock. The parents will not give the key, right? So I'm just giving this example, right, where like how we transferred the literature, right? How we transferred from that kind of the technology to today, right? So over some time, the black and white TV become flattened TV, right? And to color the TV, what do? We used to buy something called green screen, blue screen. Okay, place it on the TV so that it look like a color. Right? This is what this is our evolution. This is what we know about that. But today it's not like that. Okay, so today you are in the right 5G. Right? The kind of the transformation. Right? So from black and TV, it's become a color TV, then become like a flattened TV, then become people said plasma, then it's become LCD. It become LED. Today you have a 3D, isn't it? Right? But still, I didn't understand. Do I have a affordability to buy? Yes, it is possible. Yes, it is a possible. I really wonder how it is a possible. I am in a middle class. How do I buy the TV? Because today, the 49-inch TV of Samsung or a Sony, okay, it cost me around 50,000. 50,000, but how the companies are selling at that particular price, right? Here I try to connect the concept called LPG. You know what is that? A little louder. Liberalization, privatization, right? Who gave the permission for this? India opened for globalization in the year 1989. Right, 1989, because that is one of the reason, right, we have a multiple companies who got into our country, right, our country, because of the larger production, the companies were able to give, competitive price, right? So today, the TVs are hanging on the wall, right? The TVs are hanging on the wall. Okay, so this is the kind of the development. This is the kind of development, right? So you need a proper leader to appreciate. You need a leader to take lead the team. So there was two mobiles. I think all of you must have remember Nokia, right? And one more Samsung. I wanted to understand where is Nokia now. Where is Nokia? There was one point of time, maybe in my age group, all of us had Nokia. Why? Because, right? And the battery, it long lasting. Okay, I can keep for 2 or 3 days. What happened today? Did any of you have a mobile, Nokia? No, you'll have either Samsung or Apple, right? So this is, look at see, when you have a right leader, it lead into the right way. So this is where something is very important. The leader who inspire, who you call it as a role model. Right? You call it as a role model. Who is a role model? Your teacher, your principal, right? Your class teacher, yes, they will be there. You are learning from them. Right? So the leader is, set an example who inspire the entire team. Right? So that's the thing anyway. Right? So definitely I would say that, our former Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, who invested. Okay, who started, who gave the permission for the LPG. So it became globalization. So because of the globalization, you could see the number of MNC who got into India, the kind of the prices, the type of the prices today, the competitive price. Whether you talks about any gadgets, right? You talk about any televisions, right? Or any other the models, right? So because of the globalization, today you are in the standard called high living standard. High living standard. Okay, there was something interestingly I wanted to say. I was in I think you all must be knowing, in the Bishop College, Trichy. Okay, I was doing my one of my PG. I used to write to my father, Father, I need money for this particular expenditure for this month, right? You know what I do? I write a letter. Today, what you are doing? Today, what do you do? How do you ask money by your father? Yeah? Phone, right? So I used to write a letter, either the postcard, right, or inland letter. That letter will go to my father after 3 days. My father, he opened my letter after 2 days. Right? He understands the concept like, another 3 days. So by the time I get the money after 15 days. Right? And today like things are not like that. How many of you are going to the post office? How many of you know like how to fill the, money order form? Right? Because the standard of living, that's what I try to connect here. Because we have like, the wonderful leader who lead the team. I'll come back to like, there's so many examples are there. Right? So in every company, whether you're talking about, the production related company or a service related company, okay, or any other company today, right? So everything you have an appropriate leader, the leader who leads the entire, organization. Right? Okay. So he sent me the money after like, only about 15 days. So that was our communication. But today it's not like that, right? So what do? You're sitting in the national conference. You're sitting in the national conference. Dad, I need 1,000 rupees. You're messaging? Yes or no? Right? You're messaging your dad. Next 1 minute, the money will come to your mobile. Right? Look at like, the kind of communication. So this is like, this is what I said, it's the standard of living, high standard of living. Right? Not a small, a high standard of living. So India, it's, of course, we have like, because once I was in Europe, there was a country called Holland. Okay, I was talking to one of the professor and they were very scared about the Indians. Why? The Indians are highly intellectual. Right? He did mention something like this. Indians will take over the world very shortly. Right? Indians will take over the world very shortly. That means what? They're very scared of because of you. Right? You are an intellectual. Right? You are the future leader. Right? How do you develop? Because whatever the example I gave so far, you have to develop yourself. Right? Your leadership skill. Right? How you are going to inspire others. How you are going to motivate. Right? All this thing. Fine? I just move on to the next one. Right. Okay, I was talking about TCS, the selection procedure is not only a TCS, I gave an example. Almost all the companies to select select the one person, because normally when they select one person, they is called as call themselves as they are selecting the person as an asset. Right? When you have a company, how do you select the people? You select somebody who's an asset, right? Who somebody who's like value, right? Or you are buying a mobile. You buy the mobile just like that. Your father just gave you 20,000 rupees. You go to a shop and you buy. What do? Right? You will do hundreds of an analysis. Yes or no? You do hundreds of an analysis, right? You ask your friend, right? Ask your friend, ask your neighbor, ask your an association, okay? Ask your cousins, ask your teachers, right? Everybody. Finally, you will conclude, right? I wanted to buy this mobile. Right? So when you buy a mobile, when you do so much of a research, imagine the Australian company, what and all they'll do then. Right? So that is meant for the national head, one of the position called national manager, right? So they received 65,000 application. It's not so simple to finalize. If I miss out on any one of the application, that means I'm losing. Right? That means I'm losing one of the potential candidate. Okay? So they did, thoroughly they did. Okay, and finally they had something called a selection. Okay, so you had to be one among. You have to be like one among, right? So when you wanted to stand in the market, your profile, right? So what is your caliber? All you have to express. Fine? Okay. And also I wanted to bring some of the the general challenges. What is it happening in the world? What are the global challenges for the leaders? Right? The first one, there is something called climatic change. Climatic change. How many of you are aware of this? What do you mean by climatic change? What is happening because of that? Anyone? Right? Climatic change, economic instability, right? Political and technological changes, right? So these are the some of the global challenges for the leaders, right? So because you have to meet unless until you take care of all these issues, you cannot be a successful leader. Maybe I can give you a number of examples, right? So with regard to the leaders during COVID-19, what happened? The entire world is shut, right? Who took the responsibility? The government. The government had a tough time, right? They want to say they are the safeguard of the people. They are not able to do anything, right? They didn't have the resources. They have to even they can't ask the neighboring country. Why? Because everywhere the problem exists, right? Out of all the countries, right? One of the country, I think you all remember the New Zealand Prime Minister. Who's that? Little louder. Yeah, you can say. Who's the Prime Minister? New Zealand? Ardern? Full name? You said something. Ardern, okay, Jacinda Ardern, right? And he's been appreciated, a leader who took the control of the entire country, right? Who had a constant communication. See, when there is a problem happen like this, right? What we did, India, Indian government, they started here also, there is a lot of, because of the huge population, they try to lead and try to control, right? But mainly among all the countries, right? This particular country, Mr. Ardern, he really initiated well. Okay, from the day one, he constantly he kept on speaking to the people. He was in the media, but today the leaders absconding. Why? Because they don't want to take a risk. They don't want to come to take any risk, right? So this gentleman, he was in the media and constantly updating. He said, they are there. Government is there to protect, right? The least death rate in the world in New Zealand, right? So we need somebody, the communication is something is very important. When you communicate with the people, right? That means you feel safety. Right, which is not anywhere in the world, right? So this New Zealand, of course, one of the best example. And moving down, I always say is the political leaders are so important. Political leaders are so important to get the business. Okay, so they are basically set the example. They are set the example for everyone, right? So today we have so many states from north to south. There are so many states are there. Right? Which state is doing so well? There is a evaluation. Okay, due to by using number of parameters, they're evaluating. Right? So this state having the highest points, they've been ranked 1, 2, 3, something like that. Right? So again in the political factor, something's very important. Right? The political factor, the leader who takes the lead of the entire state. Okay, how they develop, whether the Karnataka or a Tamil Nadu or a Kerala, whichever the state. Right? The political factor, especially for the business, is so important. Right? When you have a right leader, of course, you can see the prosperous. Okay? So this is again, the leader who face these kind of problems. Right? You need to have the right political party. So today, we have I think we have a wonderful the CM. Of course, we could see the good prosperous in Tamil Nadu. Right? And then the second point which I want to discuss, the complex and diversities, complex and diverse teams, complex. One thing I just wanted to ask you, there is something called of late work from home. Work from home. Only our mother used to be at home, work from home. But today, work from home, the men who are sitting at home or a lady who is working, work from home, what is that? What is that? What's happening? Right? So as a leader, right, as a CEO or a vice president of the company, right, you need to have a talent to keep all the people in your hand. Right? And today, there was one of the laws says that, right, the women employees are not allowed to work after 6 o'clock in the evening. Can we apply this rule today? Can we apply? One of the factory law clearly says that, right, women employees are not allowed to work in the factory after 6 o'clock. So today, right, and I have seen in Bangalore, right, the people wait for the cab at 10 o'clock in the night. Right? Where you have a class at 8 o'clock in the morning, the people always comes at 8:30. Right? I have seen my own student who is supposed to log into New Zealand process at 4 o'clock. She's ready by 2:30 in the morning. Right? This is happening. Right? So people the kind of the diverse firm. Right? So in a company, when you say it's a multinational company, the leader should have a capacity to retain their employee who's from France, who's from German, right? Who's from like, the Mexico or from India and African countries, right? Obviously, I do not know the culture, right? You have like, different culture in different countries, right? I just give an example, one or two. I'll just take an example of an American. What is the nature of an American? What is the characteristics of an American, right? Americans are very, very bold. Very, very bold, right? They speak on your face, right? They don't know how to lie. They can't they can't lie, right? Second example, German. When you give the example of a German, right? They always buy the product which is highly costly. Second example. I want to understand the Indian mindset. What are the characteristics of Indian? Can you tell me? I said American, I said, right, German. I want to understand the mindset of Indian or characteristics of Indian. What is that? Yeah? Hostility. Okay, one more. Our mindset, right? We always think we wanted the best in cheap and best. Am I right? Germans is not like that. They always buy. Americans again, they'll buy the product which is high tech. Today, this is what the market research says, that you must be knowing the company called Nielsen and Group, right? Some of the research, research output says like that, right? Indian mindset is like that. Okay, the consumers are like that. They always prefer the product. Right? You buy. The Complan is coming up. There is a offer. When you buy, 1 kg of, a Complan, there is a free cup they give. Right? So there is a sale. There is a sale, increase. Immediately, Horlicks, what they'll do? They also wanted to compete with you. What they'll do? They'll give spoon. Right? This is what the kind of, the competition there. Right? So that is the part of competition marketing strategies. Right? So my second point I was talking about the political polarization, the leaders of the particular state. Right? And I was talking about the diverse team. Okay? So when you say the multinational company, you have a people like that. Right? You have a people from home country, you have a people from host country, you have a people from third country nationals. So when you have a people like that, right, it's a duty of the leader to unite. Right? If you're not if you don't understand the culture of the various country, but you may not be a good leader. Why? Because you need to understand. I'll give you one more example. There was a doctor from France. Yeah, I need all your attention so that it will go very interestingly. There was a doctor from France, right? She's supposed to work in one of the village in Tamil Nadu, okay, for about 6 months' time. 6 months he's supposed to work, right? This doctor, she never been to India. This is the first time she's coming. But from one of the church, they asked me to pick up from the airport. Then I was supposed to drop in the particular village near Osur, right? So what I did, I picked her up. Right, and from the airport I dropped, right, and she went there. She went to the hospital, the very small village hospital, and the village people are so good actually, very, very nice, right? And because from today she's supposed to start the work, right? Because the people they do not know the culture of France. What they did, they had a beautiful leaf. Right? They served vada, pongal, dosa. Right? All they served. So it's looked at. So it's looking like she didn't know what to do then. What is the culture of those people? They never had, because everything is blended. Either cornflakes, right? Or maybe some butter bun. This is what they used to take as a breakfast. Right? Today I'm very happy. The moment I came, madam served beautiful dosa, pongal. I'm very happy because I'm a Tamilian. Right? I enjoy my breakfast. But maybe you need to understand. You need to understand the culture. Okay, so here why? Tomorrow you're going to lead the diversified team. right? Diversified team. Unless until you understand this kind of, the diversification, you will not. Right? And also, like, I wanted to give one more example. The company called ITC? ITC? What is the company? What is the name? What is the name of the company? ITC means Indian Tobacco Company. Very good, ma. Good. Right? So, Indian Tobacco Company. Okay, so it's an Indian company. But who did not succeeded in India? Do you know the story of that? ITC is not successful in India. Okay, so later, maybe only after 1990, they are got into the diversify, they are into different product. Initially, they were not, during 1970s, 80s, they were not successful. Right? So, the reason behind this, okay, so when ITC started to produce a cigarette, right? ITC started to produce a cigarette, and there is no buyer from Indians because the price, right? Because we see, first of all, during 80s, 90s, I know the Indians, it's very difficult because hardly we earn money. Okay, so because today you have a multiple opportunity. Each of you have maybe hundreds of jobs available. In those days, it's not like that, right? We used to hunt for the job. Right? So in this scenario, this people where is the money to buy a cigarette, right? So they were, because the company invested huge amount, they want to run, they're not able to sell the product. Okay, finally they find the solution, right? And they took a small survey with the help of one of the company. Finally they did. There is a huge demand in European country, right? So what they did, they started to export all these cigarettes to European country, right? And the raw material from India, they could able to produce the best of product, right? And they were started to compete with the international products, international cigarettes, right? The international product, they are not stand with our product. Okay, so that's the way they started to get the huge profit, right? Then later they diversified into hotels and service industry, something like that, right? Finally, they also wanted to understand why Indians did not buy. Why Indians did not buy this ITC product of cigarette? They find that they are very comfortable with the BDs, right? They are very comfortable with the BDs. Why? Because in a very small pack, consists of about a 25 or a 30. Okay, so you pay only hardly 1 rupee, where each cigarette that point of time, the costing close to 1 rupee. So maybe they were not able to stand, right? So they diversify, they move across the country. Today they are the leader. But maybe in 2000 there was a caution because of the cancer. What they did they started diversify their product. Now today they have a multiple products. ITC food product, they're doing so good. They have what is that? Biscuits, right? And atta. You have that atta. There are multiple products they have, right? So that's a way, right? So when I say managing the complex and the diversity, right? As a leader, you should know the different culture, right? Only then you can keep your team in tight. Otherwise, people will leave, right? Okay, so when you have different people, I think I could see a lot of people from different states. Maybe there are a set of Keralites. So there are people from Tamil Nadu. Maybe could be from other states, right? So when we don't appreciate others, it's very difficult, right? You need to understand that, right? It's the successful leader who always trust on the different culture. The development start from there, right? So that was my second point, and one last point. Right. Again, this is something very interesting again. Inspiring innovation and change. Inspiring innovation and change. Right? And see, there is, because of late, the government of India also initiated a number of programs, okay, with related to innovation. Right? Innovative ideas. Okay, so government of India and the central government, they started number of schemes. Right, where every college, every higher education being appreciated, you need to have a cell called innovation cell, etc., right? So similarly, what is the innovation? I want to take 1 or 2 examples. right? So initially, like, we had only 2 cars. One is Ambassador, the other one is a Fiat. Only these 2 cars were there in the road, right? So apart from that, there was nothing, right? I didn't find any car because during my journey, I have not seen anything, right? And today, the girl child, like, who aged 18 or something, they drive the car in one finger, right? In one finger, they're driving the car. I was amazed how it is possible, right? So because there is a change, there is like huge, tremendous changes. From Ambassador, like the people like move on something called the power steering. So what is it, power steering? Like very flexible. I know, like when the driver used to drive, they really find it a problem, right? Using the steering or anything, very, very difficult. But today, like so anybody, easily they can drive the cars today. So that kind of the innovations is happening today, right? And also like I just warned you today. So today, right, the machines are learning. Remember, machines are learning, right? That is humans are watching machine. That means you are in the WhatsApp, right, where AI and other machines started to learn, right? Over some time, the machine will take over unless until you develop. Are you with me? Yes? Otherwise, you lose opportunities, right? So today, like whichever the company you wanted to get in, right? It's not so simple then unless until you have the caliber. The caliber, like which I mean, like, as a leader, right? You need to have this kind of skill develop, right? You have to develop, right? So maybe the last point, I just wanted to say that leadership is not merely a position. It is a responsibility, a commitment. Most important, the tool for transformation, right? I always tell my students, okay, how did you join the college? What is the transformation? How much you change yourself, right? The time you got in, maybe after your +2, right? You got into the degree. What is the skill you had, right? How much you transform yourself? That is something is very important, right? How much you are transferred? That is the most important. Okay, so that's the way you acquire something called the leadership skill, right? When you have like this kind of skill, only you can sustain in the industry. Otherwise, I'll tell you, it's very, very difficult today. The kind of the people are there to just pull you down, just pull you down, right? You cannot, right? Whether whichever the industry, whether you're talking about the government industries or private industries, it's too difficult. Right? So stand in the market, right? Or stand in the the corporate, the level, it's very, very difficult, right? Unless until you have the skills, right? So wishing you all the best. Okay. So on behalf of our institution, thank you so much, madam. It was a pleasure to be here. Okay. So on this particular topic, and also the organizing committee. Okay, is there any question? Probably I can answer, or maybe during the technical sessions. Yeah? Yeah, thank you.
உலகத்தரமான கல்லூரி உங்கள் ஊரில். தெய்வானை அம்மாள் காலேஜ் ஃபார் விமன், அட்டானமஸ், விழுப்புரம். உங்கள் எதிர்காலம்